Hello and welcome to FactFountain, where knowledge flows. Today, we're diving into the chilling and fascinating world of fear. Why do we get scared? Stick around to unravel the mysteries of your goosebumps. If you're ready to face your fears, smash that like button, and let's get started. Let's kick off with the basics. Fear is our emotional response to perceived threats. It's your body's personal alarm system, honed by evolution over thousands of years. You're walking alone at night, and suddenly you hear a rustle in the bushes. Your heart races, palms sweat. That's fear in action, preparing you to either face the danger or run away. Now, here's a quirky fact: the oldest part of our brain, the amygdala, is the mission control for processing fear. It's like having a tiny, highly efficient panic button inside your head. When it senses danger, it's quicker than your favorite superhero, sending signals to get your body ready for action. But fear isn't just about immediate danger. It also ties into our memories and experiences. Ever wondered why some people are terrified of dogs while others love them? It often comes down to past experiences. If you had a scary encounter with a dog as a child, your amygdala remembers it and triggers fear to protect you. Here's another fascinating aspect: fear can be learned through observation. That's right, if you see someone else being scared of something, like a spider, your brain might decide, hey, spiders are bad news, and voila, you're an arachnophobe. It's like a contagious emotional reaction. And let's not forget about the role of culture in shaping our fears. Different societies and times have had different bogeymen. In some cultures, spirits and ancestors play a big role in fear, while in others, it might be more about societal fears, like failing an exam or public speaking. Yes, for some, giving this talk could be their worst nightmare. So, fear, this complex, multifaceted emotion, is not just about survival. It's deeply woven into the fabric of our being, shaped by our brain structure, past experiences, and cultural background. It's a universal experience, yet deeply personal. Stick around as we dive deeper into the types of fears and their intriguing peculiarities. Fear comes in all shapes and sizes, from arachnophobia, the fear of spiders, to the more recently recognized nomophobia, the fear of being without your phone. Yep, that's a real thing, and let's not forget the classic fear of the dark, or nyctophobia. Our brains are hardwired to fear the unknown, which is why so many horror movies are set at night. But wait, there's more. Ever heard of pagonophobia? It's the fear of beards. Surprising, right? And for those who can't stand the sight of their kitchen in disarray, there's cynosilicophobia, the fear of an empty beer glass. Talk about specific fears. Then there's the more serious, impactful fears, like social phobias, where people dread social situations, or agoraphobia, the fear of open or crowded spaces. These fears can really shape someone's life and choices. Fears can also be quirky. Ibophobia, ironically, the fear of palindromes, words that read the same backward and forward. And if you think about it, ibophobia is a palindrome itself. Mind-blowing, isn't it? Remember, it's totally normal to have fears, whether they're common or unique. What matters is how we manage them. In our next segment, we'll delve into the psychological roots of fear. Stay tuned. But why do we experience fear? It's all about survival. Our ancestors who were quick to fear were quick to survive. It's like your brain saying, hey, maybe don't pet that large, growling animal. But in today's world, our fears can be less about survival and more about our psyche. Anxiety and phobias are fears kicked into overdrive. Now, let's dig deeper. Our fears are not just primal instincts. They're also shaped by our experiences and culture. Ever wondered why some people fear heights while others are terrified of public speaking? That's because our personal experiences and the environment we grow up in play a huge role in what scares us. Let's add a twist of neuroscience. When we encounter something scary, our brain releases chemicals like cortisol and adrenaline. This isn't just for physical threats, Ever felt your heart race before giving a presentation? That's your brain reacting to a perceived threat. Even if it's not a saber-toothed tiger, but a room full of people. Here's a fun fact. Did you know that watching horror movies can actually help some people cope with anxiety? It's called controlled exposure, in a safe environment. You get to confront fears and feel a sense of control. It's like riding a roller coaster, scary, but thrilling. And let's not forget about the power of storytelling and its role in fear. From ancient campfire tales to modern urban legends, stories have been used to instill caution and teach lessons. They tap into our deepest fears and illustrate societal anxieties. Ever heard of the boogeyman? That's storytelling making fear tangible. So, whether it's a jump scare in a movie or anxiety about an upcoming event, fear is a complex dance of biology, experience, and culture. Understanding this dance helps us not only face our fears but also understand the human experience a bit better. And that, my friends, is truly fascinating. When we're scared, our body hits the gas pedal on the fight or flight response. Adrenaline rushes, heart races, and muscles tighten. It's like turning into a superhero, but instead of fighting crime, you're avoiding that spider in the bathtub. This instinctive response dates back to our caveman days when a quick reaction could mean the difference between life and death. Imagine facing a saber-toothed tiger and deciding whether to fight or flee. That's fight or flight in action. But in today's world, it's less about saber-toothed tigers and more about public speaking, or heaven forbid, getting stuck in an elevator. Our modern tigers might not be life-threatening, but our bodies react in the same dramatic way. Did you know that public speaking is one of the most common fears? It triggers the same fight or flight response as coming face to face with a growling bear. Now, let's get a bit sciencey. When triggered, this response causes a release of hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. This turbocharges our body, preparing us to either stand our ground or make a swift exit. It heightens our senses, quickens our reflexes, and pumps more blood to our muscles. It's like your body is suddenly in a high-speed chase scene from an action movie. Ever felt your heart pounding before a big presentation? That's your fight or flight kicking in. But here's a fun fact. Deep breathing can help calm this response. Next time you're feeling those pre-presentation jitters, take a few deep breaths. You're not just calming down, you're scientifically hacking your brain's instinctive reactions. So, whether you're facing a spider, a scary movie, or a room full of people, remember, fight or flight is a normal, natural response. It's your body's way of saying, I got you, let's do this. Alright, moving on, let's explore how different cultures and times have experienced fear. Spoiler, it's not all about spiders and public speaking. Now, let's take a fascinating detour into how fear has shaped cultures and history. Fear isn't just a personal experience, it's woven into the tapestry of societies worldwide. From ancient mythology to modern urban legends, what scares us reveals a lot about who we are. In ancient Greece, fear was personified in Phobos, the god of fear. He'd ride into battle alongside his brother, Deimos, terrorizing enemies. Fast forward to the Middle Ages in Europe, where fear took the form of supernatural folklore. People genuinely feared creatures like werewolves, vampires, and witches. These fears weren't just bedtime stories, they reflected deep societal anxieties about the unknown and unexplainable. But fear isn't universal, it's incredibly diverse. In Japan, the ghost stories known as yurei reflect fears tied to unresolved issues and vengeful spirits. In contrast, many Native American cultures have legends about skinwalkers, shape-shifting beings invoking fear and moral lessons. These tales tell us how different cultures process fear, using it as a tool to teach and maintain social order. Now, let's leap to the 20th and 21st centuries. Our fears have evolved with our societies. The advent of technology brought new fears. Think about classic sci-fi horror films, where technology turns against humanity. These stories mirror our anxieties about the unknown consequences of rapid technological advancement. In the modern era, our fears are often less tangible but just as powerful. Fear of isolation, fear of failure, fear of the unknown future, they all reflect our contemporary struggles. The interesting part, how media, from news to social platforms, amplify and sometimes manipulate these fears. It's a complex dance between what scares us and what we're told should scare us. Fear, in its many forms, has always been a powerful force in shaping human history and culture. From ancient myths to the digital age, our fears reflect our values, beliefs, and the times we live in. Let's delve deeper into the fear landscape of our modern world. Today, our fears aren't just about physical threats. They've evolved into more complex forms, like the fear of missing out, or FOMO. Yes, that anxiety you feel when everyone seems to be having fun without you? That's a modern fear, thanks to social media. Speaking of social media, it's a double-edged sword. It connects us, but also bombards us with a constant stream of information, not all of it accurate. Misinformation can breed fear. Ever heard a scary health rumor and suddenly felt a twinge in your stomach? That's the power of suggestion at work, and let's talk about the news. While staying informed is important, the 24/7 news cycle can make us feel like the world is a never-ending horror show. Did you know there's actually a term for this? Mean World Syndrome, where heavy media consumption leads to a perception that the world is more dangerous than it actually is. But it's not all doom and gloom. Our awareness of global issues, like climate change or political unrest, shows our capacity for empathy and collective concern. It's a different kind of fear, one that can spur us into positive action. Here's the silver lining. Being aware of these modern fears means we can manage them. Understanding the psychology behind our fears helps us keep them in check. Remember, it's normal to feel scared, but we don't have to let fear control us. We can choose to seek out facts, engage in healthy discussions, and take breaks from our screens to keep our fears in a realistic perspective. So, next time you feel overwhelmed by the fears of the modern world, take a step back. Assess the situation, look for reliable information, and remember, you're not alone in this. We're all navigating this complex world together. Stay tuned for more insights into conquering fears in our next segment. So, how do we conquer our fears? Understanding and facing them is key. Psychologists suggest exposure therapy, gradually and safely exposing yourself to what scares you. Remember, it's okay to be scared, it's how we handle it that counts. Let's delve deeper. Facing fear isn't just about jumping out of airplanes or touching spiders. It's also about confronting the fears within us. Fears of failure, rejection, or even success. It's about challenging those inner voices that say, you can't do it. Interestingly, studies show that our perception of fear changes when we alter our mindset. For example, viewing a scary situation as a challenge can reduce fear responses. It's like telling yourself, this isn't a giant wave about to crash, it's a challenge I'm going to surf. Now, I'm not saying you should go hug a bear to overcome your fear of them. It's about small, manageable steps. Start by watching a documentary about bears, then maybe visit a zoo. Baby steps, not bear steps. Also, never underestimate the power of knowledge. The more we learn about what scares us, the less intimidating it becomes. Did you know that fear of public speaking, or glossophobia, is one of the most common fears? Yet, with practice and understanding, many become great public speakers. In summary, overcoming fear is about understanding, gradual exposure, changing our mindset, and gaining knowledge. It's a journey, not a sprint. So, take your time. Be patient with yourself, and celebrate the small victories. You're braver than you think. And there you have it, our thrilling exploration into the world of fear. We've uncovered that fear, while sometimes unnerving, is an incredibly fascinating and natural part of being human. It's deeply embedded in our psychology, a remnant of our evolutionary past, but also a reflection of our contemporary concerns. Let's not forget the quirky side of fear. Did you ever think you'd fear missing out on a phone notification? That's a modern twist, and while some fears might seem irrational, they all have a place in our complex psychological makeup. Here's a parting thought. Next time you feel a shiver down your spine, whether it's from a spider, a dark room, or even a looming deadline, take a moment to acknowledge it. Fear isn't just a reaction, it's a conversation with our inner selves, a way to understand and challenge our boundaries. Remember, facing fear doesn't always mean conquering it. Sometimes, it's about understanding and respecting it. After all, every hero in every story faces fear, not without trembling, but with courage. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into the psychology of fear, why not share your own fears or how you've overcome them in the comments below? Let's start a conversation, and of course, for more intriguing topics like this, don't forget to subscribe to FactFountain. Your support means the world to us, and it keeps us bringing fascinating facts right to you. Stay curious, stay brave, and as always, thank you for watching. Until next time, this is FactFountain, where knowledge flows.